tonight on an interview with an interesting person, Celine Smith, with your host, Kevin Schoen, and Larry the Band.
Yeah. Thank you, Larry. This is part 2 of an interview with an interesting person with Celine Smith.
Yes.
And I want to go, we were talking about Nepal.
Yes.
You were in like this village in Nepal for a couple of years
Yes.
as part of the Peace Corps. Okay, what was the name of the place?
Okay, so the district I was in was Lumjung, but the village I was in was called Duradada.
Duradada?
Yeah, the pronunciation is hard to get exactly,
okay.
But basically the word dada, which I can't still pronounce correctly.
Okay, you're still working on it.
Well, that one I'll never get.
Okay.
Because there's like four different T sounds, 4 different D sounds, 4 different,
Really?
There's it's a totally different alphabet system. And so, but anyways, that word means hill. And so
Okay.
Dura Dada means the hills of the Dura people, which is an ethnic minority.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how much Nepalese do you know? Like, is that the proper saying, the way I would say the language?
Generally, it's Nepali, but some
Nepali,
people, it's okay.
Would that be wrong? Nepalese? Is
Some
that wrong?
people do say Nepalese. It's just not as common. I don't know if that's technically wrong or right. But
We're going to have to look that up.
Okay.
So
Let me know what you find out.
Nepalese or Nepali?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I speak it fairly. I'm definitely conversational. I tested out advanced high.
Really?
I currently get to use my Nepali at work because I work here in Lansing, and there's a lot of Nepali-speaking Bhutanese refugees here in Lansing.
Of course there is!
I know! Like, who would have known? I didn't even know before I went to Nepal, I didn't know that population existed here, and then I came back, and there was, like, mini Nepal in Lansing. Yeah,
I never knew!
Bizarre, yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Okay, so what was the name of the village that we kind of
Duradada.
Duradada. Okay, in Duradada, tell me more about the educational process. So you'd have like a meeting, or a group of ladies would get together, and then you'd be like, hey, listen, man, your cooking, it's all messed up.
No, so, like, honestly, the actual quote-unquote, like, purpose behind me being there from Peace Corps standards, what they wrote down for Congress to be like, look, we're doing work, was not what I enjoyed about being there.
Oh, okay.
Like, that was not, like, what I spent most of my time doing.
Okay,
honestly, like, the best part of Peace Corps is the relationships that you make and the stuff you do in between those things.
Right.
Because there's how the education system was in the U.S. in like the 50s or earlier is how Nepal is. So it's very like the teacher just standing up at the front talking at everyone, and everyone just like memorizing by rote memorization.
Okay.
No group work, no presentations, no stuff like that.
Okay.
Maybe some presentations, but I mean, point being that that's what they expect from you when you're teaching.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so while
for you to be a lecturer, then.
Yeah, and so it's like very short, and not that places in the U.S. still don't do that. A lot of places do, but I think that our education system is kind of moving away from that and trying to get more hands-on. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like Nepal used to be hands-on, and then tried to follow like a Western model, and But so that was one of my least favorite parts. But I did do a camp for kids in my village to go to Pokhara, which is the second largest city in Nepal. Mm-hmm. And we worked with a nonprofit that worked with women's and children's issues. And we collaboratively put together 4 days of workshops on mental health issues, gender issues, caste issues, leadership skills. And so we took 14 kids from my village for ages within 8th grade and 9th grade, I believe it was. Okay. And we spent 4 days away for that. So that was the best thing that I did during my years. Culminated in my last 6 months.
Really? So you were mentioning that part of what was most rewarding was the bits and pieces surrounding that education.
Yeah.
So did you meet anybody weird?
Well, like, who isn't weird? Everyone's weird in some way.
Okay.
But yeah, like, it was fun because since I was a cultural outsider,
right.
I felt like people could really open up to me in a way that, like, might not have been acceptable to their friends that they were trying to be like normal with.
Yeah,
so I got people's weird sides. And that's what was great. And so, I mean, I would get stories from people that, like, first of all, I think that they didn't believe my language was good enough to be able to gossip about it around Village.
Oh, okay.
But, like, also, they just knew that I was from a different place that didn't have the same expectations of what was normal.
Okay.
So they were super interesting. Yeah.
So they were like, let's tell the crazy American all our gossip. They're
crazy. It was one of the things that I hope that we can talk about this.
Oh, go right ahead.
One of the things I think Peace Corps volunteers, especially female Peace Corps volunteers, do best is share knowledge of the female orgasm to women to women in Village because there's not much sexual education and it tends to be very male focused and it's very much like sex is surrounded around the man, the husband, and I mean the U.S. can be like that too, but there isn't access to that education, and so a lot of my friends in Peace Corps, we would talk about it, and we would talk about how we ended up coming to these places of conversation where the women would be like, so tell me about this, and then they would ask some question that was like related to that, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, like
I know what you're
interested
about.
in knowing about that. So anyways, so I ended up drawing a lot of diagrams.
Really?
And that would be like the fun conversation we would all get into, and it would be like super super focused. Like that's what they really wanted to talk about in the private settings.
Right, right.
Yeah, so really interesting. It was fun.
So they're like, we'll come to your food training or whatever. We want to tell me about this.
Yeah. A friend of mine, she went to a women's group meeting, or maybe it was just a whole bunch of women hanging out, I don't know. But anyways, the group was all like asking this one woman, like, ask her.
Really?
And so finally the woman was like, in the U.S., do you all have sex in front of other people?
Really? Are you serious?
Like, that's what they wanted to know, was that they, like, just got, like, in front of a group and just, like, had sex. And she was like, not really. Like, no. So there's also, like, a lot of, like, misconceptions of the U.S. as being, like, extremely sexually open that, like, we also help to, like, tone back.
Well, maybe that's what they see on television.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's a issue with a lot of, especially American women experience when traveling, is that people expect them to be extremely sexually open and receptive. And so then a lot of women end up getting assaulted when traveling.
Really?
Yeah, and I won't say that that's the cause, but I think that's one of the conceptions that's harmful to a lot of, especially American women travelers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, wow, so the 2 years that you were there, how often did you get out of the Village? You saw your friend a couple of times, right?
Yeah, no, but I would get out of Village, I would probably get out at least once a month.
And would you walk or hike to another village?
Yeah, so I wish I had walked more. I started walking more at the end of my service.
Right.
But I took the buses, and honestly, walking was way better. The buses were the bumpiest things, and like it moved at a snail's pace a lot of the time because the roads were so bumpy, and you're on a hillside, and it's cut out the side, so you're like, the edge is right here, and the bus is tipping, and there's the edge.
And you're like,
so a lot of the time I just accepted that what happens.
Right,
and at least I'm having this great experience.
I might fall. I hope this guy doesn't drive off the cliff anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't know why I didn't just get out and walk more. It literally took just as long to walk to the place that I was taking the bus to all that time.
Really?
By the time I finally tried walking.
Yeah. Well, interesting. Well, thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, this is an interview with an interesting person, and we're here with Celine Smith, who was a Peace Corps volunteer in Nepal for 2 years. And thanks for watching, everybody.